Hi guys, welcome back to Factorio Vanilla. This is episode 14. So between episodes I've gone around, I've made a few little enhancements, changes, etc. And one of the things I've done I will show you in a second. So if we just set this back to automatic, we should pull into the station momentarily. So one of the things you're going to notice is I've set up a refueling place here and here just to make sure the trains keep running. Because the last thing we want is for the train to stop in the middle of doing everything and all of our oil will ground to a halt. I've also gone through and made a couple of adjustments to the copper situation, which means that we are now ready to start our inflow of copper into here, which will get belts underway. So let's put that in. So if I've got this all plumbed up correctly, we should have copper coming down in a moment, which will then join onto this belt, be mixed in and made into batteries, and that will then feed across to the end of the belt where it will become part of the bus. So let's just make sure that's coming through correctly before I run away from it. That's coming through fine. I know what I haven't done, I haven't set it up to use both sides of the belt. So let's sort that quickly. There you go, that will now use both sides of the belt, and it's producing fairly slowly at the moment, so we might want to do something in the future to speed it up, but we will come back to that as and when we need it. In the meantime, these are looking fairly full. We might actually see that the whole thing shuts down before too long because we just can't get any more oil into the system. But hopefully we'll have long enough left before that happens to allow us to start cracking and breaking some of the fuel down into other things. So if we run over to the edge of the bus now, keep running, keep running, keep running. Looking at this has just reminded me we haven't got any technology going, so let's have a look. We're now able to make red circuits because we've got plastic, so I think that getting electric furnaces out of the way will be a good start because we can start to be less dependent on coal then for smelting, which means that the only thing we would need coal for would be feeding the steam engines and keeping things like plastic underway. So let's get that started and we can move away from coal-based smelting fairly quickly after that. So this is one of the other things you'll see that I've set up just to try and get this lot out of the way. So what we're going to do today is set up a wall on both sides of this so that we can't accidentally run into the belt, into the rail station, into the rail, sorry, and get ourselves run over. And to do that we're going to need some stone. And not just any stone, we're going to need stone walls and gates. So we've got walls being produced already. They should be down here somewhere. Somewhere, there they are. So let's grab all of those. And then we're also going to need some gates, which require steel and electric circuits. So let's just make a few of those, which we're then dropping all over the floor because I forgot to empty my inventory out first. What can we leave where in order to make up the difference on this one? Well, we can optimise that by putting the same poles in there. If we move this into our toolbar and then just pick them back up. Hopefully I haven't left any of these just lying around on the ground. So I think that will be enough to stop me from running onto the rails for now, and let's put some gates across the railway itself. Later on I'll show you how to wire things up so that we can't run across the railway if there's a train coming, but for now that will hopefully keep us alive. But we're going to want to run our belt under here, which means we hopefully will be able to do this. Going to need some more iron plate first. And of course I can't make too much, or can't grab too much iron plate because I've got a fairly full inventory. But will this be long enough? Yes, it will. Good. Now we're going to have problems with this, so we just have to wait for this to drain out a little bit. So for the time being that will have to wait, and we can get this side coming in as well. There you go. So what we're going to end up doing is bringing our batteries and plastic up here, and they can run parallel to the railway for a few minutes. Up here, up here, up here, and then come across on top of this line. So we might have to remove some of these trees for that, but that's not too difficult. And if we set things out already, we'll have a gap of 2, and that can come across, and a gap of 2, a gap of 1, and that can come across. So 1 belt of batteries and 1 belt of plastic should supply what we need for the time being. Obviously if it doesn't supply enough, we can look at putting another belt in somewhere on the bus. We just have to rearrange a few things when that's needed. So let's just connect this up. And that tree is also in the way. So what's the best way to bring all the resources we want up here? Well, we could just run them straight up like this. So start the plastic one going up there, bring the batteries up here. Why aren't batteries making it to the end of this line? They should do. So we've got the ability to make electric furnaces now. Let's move on to concrete, because that will be essential for a little bit later on. But why are the batteries not making it down here? Because I've forgotten to extend this far enough. So let's move that one along, put that there instead, and fill in this gap in the rails, in the belts. And we should find then that the batteries will make it all the way along this stretch here, and then we can take them up next to the plastic. So there will be a little bit of spaghetti going on by here, and that's a little bit unavoidable. With belts going under things, just to save some space. In fact, we need to cut that off 2 further down, so that we can take the belt under there and under here. Now we're going to have a problem on this side, because that's not going to quite fit how we want it, is it? And we can't really do a great deal about that, which is unfortunate. So do I want to extend this curve slightly? I think that might be the best way to do it. which case take these two out and extend this along here. Like that. So we can now remove this section. And that little bit by there, nope, that's not quite what I wanted to do. There you go. And I've got to try not to get run over by a train as I'm doing this. So I think that's connected up and we don't have any extra bits in there, which is good. So we can now look at replacing that with there, and because it's the same distances now, they can just go across as we want them to, which means that our plastic can come across and be the top row here. Meanwhile, the batteries will be the second row from the top on this one. And with any luck, I will have just enough underground belt to connect these up. There you go, 2 to spare, which I suppose could be put to using that one there. Now we will need to replace this power pole. There you go. I think what I might end up doing is using electric furnaces here to turn this into copper plate and then putting it straight onto the bus to start emptying this out, rather than pumping it all the way back to the start. We'll set up a temporary furnace structure here to refill our copper along the way. But if we just fill out the rest of this bit, and this bit. There you go, so we've now got an expanded bus which includes our steel, batteries and plastic. We're going to want to bus our red circuits as well when they're created, because they go on to do other things. But I think the next step now is actually starting to make red circuits themselves, because we need, for blue science, batteries, we've got those, filter inserters, well we can make those on site, steel plates, we've got those, and advanced circuits, which are the red circuits. So red circuits require green circuits, plastic and copper cable. And with a nice bit of open space here, this is not a bad place to put that. So if I drag this along a little bit, and we say put this here, because we can then go up from there, and we've got room still to put a little bit on the bus in this space here if we need to. So that's going to make our copper cable, and then if I remember my ratios right, that copper cable can support 8 different factories making red circuits at the same time. So what do we need for this? We need the green circuits, the plastic and the copper cable, and what do we need them in the ratios of? So if we bring our copper cable in on one line, and then we'll mix the plastic and green circuits on the other line. I think that's the best way to do it, and then we can output the final thing onto a separate line again. So this I think is going to be our copper input and our copper cable coming out, and we've run out of belt there, so let's quickly run back to the start of the bus and get some more belt. Where is it? Over here. Okay. I realise I've actually picked up more stone wool than perhaps I need for the moment, but it's okay, we'll find some way to use it at some point. In fact, I could even put a little bit more of it along here for the time being, just to keep me safe and stop me running into the train lines. So where were we? We were filling this line up, and we need our mixed belt coming in from this side, which will be plastic and copper. So if we take the plastic off from the side and grab some splitters, and we want our copper coming along. So this is where we need more underground belt, which I think we might have run out again. Okay, do we go back to increasing our inserter capacity, or do we want to look at some armour? Because the next step in the armour tree would be modular armour, if I can find that, which would allow us to start having things like shields built in, because that we would have the item grid. So to get that, what would we need? We would need modules into speed module, and then speed module into the modular armour. So that's not too difficult. I think we can do all three of those things. Yep, they all only need red or green research packs. So let's go that way, and then we can start building towards some better armour. If you've seen the last few videos, you've seen that we've not had the best of luck fighting biters with our heavy armour, and we've taken a little bit of damage each time we've done that. But for the time being, we've now got the underground belt that we need. So actually, that spot isn't going to do it. That would be a better spot for us. And that will work there, which allows us to split off from this point here. So if this comes up and into there, and then we have that coming up here as well. So that allows us to set our plastic up. So our plastic and our copper will come up on the one side. And I've just realised we've done this wrong. That shouldn't be copper coming up here. This should be green circuits, which means we want to do that instead. Take that one out and put a different belt in, so we can remove these entirely. And of course we're also going to have to filter out all the copper that we've just launched up into our system. Can we pick it all up, or do we not have enough room in the inventory? We shall find out in a moment. Yes, we have enough space, that's brilliant. We need to connect this green circuit line up, and that will now come through instead, which means that our copper needs to come through on this side instead, and that shouldn't be too difficult, because that's just following through from this side. So let's put the copper input in the right place this time. And we're going to find at this point that we're going to start stretching our green circuits fairly quickly, so it might be worth looking in the next episode at expanding our green circuit production. But if we start to hook all this up, we will hopefully find it comes together fairly easily. Or it would do if I actually had enough inserters to do the things we needed. So we are running short on iron to make inserters. Let's grab some more of that. And we're going to need some long-handed inserters as well. While we're waiting for those to make, let's pop down some lights. Or allow the research to finish first. So let's grab speed modules, they'll come in useful anyway. So let's pop some lights down. And try and get some power poles in at the same time. In fact, if we put them there, they can power both sides of the input and output. So how far does this need to come down then to link up to something? I suppose we could use a long pole and take it up to something over here. How far up does this need to go before it will connect? Hopefully not too far. There you go. That connects nicely. So we've now got the rest of the inserts we need ready. That's all connected up on that side. And we can do the same on this side to get our copper cable coming in. And then we can have our fast inserter taking our red circuits out. Which we can then bring down on the other side to form part of our bus. So that's speed modules finished. Let's go for modular armour and take our red circuits along with us as well. So the only thing that we don't have available now to make blue science with is the filter inserters, which I think we're going to do in the next episode, because I've just run out of belt again and I think we've gone about as far as we can at the moment. So what we've accomplished in this episode was starting to make the railway a little bit safer, bringing the batteries and the plastic onto the bus, and starting to get red circuits set up and running. So that's about it for now. Tune in next time and I will catch you later.